following program is brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization.
This is Straight Up with Toby Martini. I am Toby Martini, and in this show, we talk about a few different things. What it's like to be an entrepreneur, how do you be in business today, sometimes the psychology of what's behind it. How do you be successful? How do you make more money? Let's go find out. Hey there, everybody. This is Toby. Welcome to the big show. It's Straight Up with Toby Martini. And, oh man, I got some stuff to talk about today. It's going to sound a little me-based, and I don't like me-based stuff. Usually, all the world of marketing is I should be telling people, about them and about you, right? More than I should talk about me, how cool I am, and what's my style. But I have an illustrative story, or illustrative? I don't know. It's an illustrative story today. I want to tell you about what's going on with me and how it might apply to you or some number of you. Because I have to remember that everybody's different. I got to remember that. It's easy to say, and yeah, you know it, but then before I jump into the whole real thing, that bit it's really funny because you know consciously that, everybody's different, right? People of different ages are different because of their environment they grew up in. Different genders, they're different. Different races, they're different. Certainly different cultures. People are different. And you know that, rationally go, sure. But then in your day-to-day living, you forget. I'm pretty sure you do, right? Most of us do. And you see something and you're like, oh my God, how could somebody possibly do whatever that is, right? Whatever that thing is that bugged you in that moment. How could they do that? And you think, wow, maybe they've gone off the rocker or they're mad or they've gone crazy. No, maybe that's just the way they do things where they're from, or that's the way they were brought up. And we forget in the moment that we're all different because of whatever those differences were in growing up. And so over the last couple of weeks, I've been changing up how I'm working in the world, and I'm going to share that with you in a bit. And I think it'll be really helpful for those of you who are in the same situation. And usually, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, people who go out and start their own businesses, they're a little bit different than most folks already. And so let's see if I can connect with some segment of people, right? And if you're this kind of person who, wow, I've been playing this game that way, and it's not really me. That's what we're talking about today. Today we're going to talk about whose dream is it, right? What dream are you chasing and why? What are the metrics you follow and why? It's very interesting, and I'm in the middle of it. So I don't have any definitive answers, but I would like to share some stuff with you, and if it works for you, if it connects with you, then we should talk. So before we get into the official meat of the thing, I do have to mention sponsors because sponsorship is what keeps a show going. And my sponsors are SCORE, which is pinellascounty.score.org. And if you're in the Tampa Bay area, it's a great group of people who can help you with your business. And again, I always say there is a Tampa group too, but I've tried. I have never connected with them. So if you are anywhere South Tampa or Clearwater, St. Pete, Dunedin, that kind of thing, go to pinellascounty.score.org. They can help you with any aspect of your business that you either don't know how to do or there's stuff you don't even know you should be doing. But it's really great. Free mentors and counseling on how do you get better at your business. So check out pinellascounty.score.org. And the other thing is, if you are going, but you're doing your business just out of your office, I said office with air quotes. If you're doing it in your home office, if you're just running your business off your coffee table or in a little room you've carved out, you would probably be better off to have an office space. Check out New Urban Suites. That's in Ybor City, which is nicely centrally located around here at Tampa Bay. It's a cool space, cool companies in there, great people who work there who can help you, the people who can answer your phones. You have like virtual reception, make you seem like a bigger company. Check out newurbansuites.com because it's pretty cool. And I always say it's better to get up and out of your house and start acting like a real business person because then your business will actually grow bigger. Even if you have an internet business, sitting around in your PJs with your feet up, I promise you would do better if you played it a little more professionally. NewUrbanSuites.com. All right, and then that segues me into the thing I was just talking about, because now I have to chuckle when I go being more professional. So here's what I'm thrashing around with is, hold on, I have to do something. I'm going to do something off camera. Please ignore the man behind the curtain. Hey, Chris, can I borrow you for a second?
Sure.
Physically?
Oh, you actually want me to be in there?
I do. Thank you.
Okay, hang on.
Because if I don't, we'll have a problem in about 10 minutes through the show. Can you plug me in, please? Sorry, I should have handled the technicalities. That's okay. Nobody will just see the back head. Invisible. Yes. The invisible producer. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Weil. Am I allowed to say your last name?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. You're not in the any sort of witness protection.
I think I have a face for radio. So
Indeed. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help. So hey, that wasn't very professional, right? I can say that, right? Nothing against him or me, right? The thing is, we all define things our own way. And what is professional, right? And this is the crux of what I'm talking about here today. Whose dream is it, right? What are you chasing? And like for me, I'm going to back up. I want to tell you a story. And again, I said, it's kind of me, but it's the only way I can illustrate the story because it's mine, right? So I had, I've always lived my life kind of improving. And this is before I knew what improv was. But I was always a very wing it guy. I wasn't a planner, right? That's why I'm good for improv. I naturally always did it. And things worked out for me. I always found the right job. I always met the right people. I was always in the right industry. I was a web designer during the dot-com bubble, right? While that was going up, I switched jobs 3 times, made 25, 30% raises every time. Again, working for somebody else. That's the best thing you can do is get a 25% raise. And so life was just good. It always worked. Things were cool. I was, like I said, I was 10 foot tall and golden. Things just worked for me. I was in the right place. And when something happened, I could handle it. I knew, I don't know, intuitively or magically what to do. And even if I didn't, things always seemed to work out really, really well for me. So that's great. Yay for me. But I had quit Citibank. I was a webmaster for Citibank's internet for 3 years. And I quit that to go work at a startup. And then that didn't work out so good that they needed to make more funding money. They had too much burn rate. So the last couple of people in were the first couple of people out. And that was the first time I was ever let go of anything ever. And I kind of went and started my own thing, but I wasn't a business person at all. And I struggled through it for a year. And then I went back to corporate and I tried that for a while. Did that for another year. And then same thing. They outsourced the whole IT department. So like 35 people or so, we all got let go. And so twice in just a couple of years, I lost the job. And I was like, wow, things always seem to work for me. Why is this not working? I went to work for Denka at that time. And it was a big office imaging company. I was webmaster for that. It's huge. 12,000 employees worldwide. So again, just kind of fell into it. It was cool. I knew people. And then after that job, I sort of ran a business for a while. Again, not learning much about business. And then I went to work for Verizon, big national, international giant conglomerate. Good business. I mean, good job for me, was okay. And then, I was supposed to be there 6 months. I ended up being there almost 3 years on a contract. And finally that was done. And then I said, you know what? I can't do this work anymore. I can't be in a cubicle. I'm not built to do this. I shouldn't be sitting at computers. I should be talking to people all of the time. And I'd already started speaking and doing Toastmasters and starting workshops and such. And I said, I'm just going to go do this. I'm just going to go do this on my own and I'll figure it out. And so that's all cool. But then here's where the problem started, right? And I hope this isn't boring. I'm not, I don't want, hopefully I can spend 5 minutes and talk about my life. I started reading all these books. I'm a voracious reader, and I figured if you're going to go do something, you better go see what other people have struggled with and what they figured out, and how do you do that then? So I'd read 2, 3, 4 books a week, and I'd go to seminars and do all that stuff, and I got a conglomeration of information about what is professional, about what's a business person do. And it was very, if you think about it, it's completely the opposite of what the improviser does, right? It's plan everything. It's have metrics for everything. And I don't know. I'll tell you, I've been very two-headed about it because I've been a business consultant and helped people with their business and in communications, right? But I always tell people to be two-headed about things. To be, yes, you should plan. It makes sense to plan. Plans are good, right? Planning is good. I said that last week. Planning is good. Plans aren't as important, but planning is good. And things go off the rails sometimes. Unexpected things happen. No plan survives encounter with the enemy. Everything changes. So a plan isn't going to be useful for you ultimately. So learn to improvise, learn to wing it, learn to be okay when things go wonky or pear-shaped. But I was kind of playing both of those. Yes, you should plan, even though I'm not the planner sort. I should have somebody who does that. And you could do that too. And I get all this stuff from, highly effective Brian Tracy and Getting Things Done, David Allen, and just all these different books who tell you, here's the way you could and should do it. Now, here's the thing. Brian Tracy's way works for Brian Tracy, and it works for thousands or maybe millions of people. I got it. But I guarantee it doesn't work for thousands or millions of people too. Because we talked about in the past on this show, how out there, DISC is a personality profiling thing. And DISC is very good because it's very quick. You can see what kind of a person somebody is really quickly. Yeah, not pigeonhole, not stereotype, not everybody falls in exactly, but play the odds because it's mostly right. And so D's are task-oriented fast people. I's are people-oriented fast people. Fast meaning impulsive, like that often. And then S's are people, but they're more reserved. They are more about harmony and making sure the whole group is good. Yeah. And then C's are task-oriented, reserved people. Usually calmer, systematized. They want to use checklists and systems. The numbers of things are important to them more than the people are important to them. Nothing's wrong for any of them. That's just how people's personality has developed. Now I'm an I. I'm a people person, fast, impulsive, right? Look at Brian Tracy. He might be a D, but he's more likely a C. Pardon me. He's a task-oriented seeming guy. You can just hear in his voice the way he talks. He talks very slowly and calmly like this. So that leads me to believe that he's more reserved and conservative, right? So we couldn't be more opposite, right? Because I'm people, he's task. I'm fast and impulsive, he's conservative and slow. Slow doesn't mean anything about your head. It just means reserved. And so while his stuff is good for a large majority of people, not good for everybody. And probably not good for me. Why am I trying to live my life, do my business the way he prescribes? Doesn't work for me. And again, I say that real pointedly, and that's easy to say, but I've worked through a bunch this week with, I have a coach who's great, and I'm a pain for her because I wiggle a lot, but working through some of this stuff with her, going, why am I playing the game of business not as an improviser? Why not wing it and win? Which is my thing. I teach people wing it and win, and then there's a vast portion of my business that I run. Let's try to be systematic and business-like. Let's be professional about this, right? And so is that you? That's the question, right? I'll come back, but is that you? Do you read these books and go, yeah, I would like to do that? Did you read Getting Things Done? David Allen. It's a great book. The system seems great. But when I look at it, I go, I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to start it. I don't want to do that every day. It seems like too much work and focus on things I don't care about. If you do that too, that book's not for you, right? It might be valuable for millions and millions of people, but that alone doesn't mean it's good for you. And so you read these different books and you go, I don't know if I can do that. Again, you have to suss it out in your own head. Is it you just don't want to do it because it's new, because it's scary, just because you don't know? Or is it it's completely unlike you? It's not your style. It's not your thing. And so this week, between having my coach and challenging me on that and going, well, why couldn't you? If you can wing it in your life and you can wing it on stage and you can wing it in your communications, wing it in your workshops and wing it all over the place, why can't you just wing it with your calendar? Can't you just wing it with doing your business, at networking? I have it so strongly. I can't be late for anything, because if I'm late, then that's not business-like. It's not professional. People will think something. If you're late, then you're not a good, right? Maybe you're not a good business person. So that's crazy to me. It's crazy making, apparently, because I live 70% of my whole life winging it, and then in business, I'm trying so hard to be structured. Yeah. And so I, have a business consultant. We've talked a few times, Ken Queen. We're going to start this business breakdown thing next week, supposedly. And now, I got to tell you, I'm a little like, why should I do that? I don't want a system. I should just try. I just try stuff and see what works. And if it works, do better. And if it doesn't work, don't do it again. I've even said that before. I kind of like that, right? But is that any way to run a business? I don't know. So now I go, So between my coach, talking with my consultant friend, Ken, I have an assistant, a partner, a protege, somebody who's helping me out with business, who's very structured and organized. And he sees all this stuff and goes, yeah, this is good. Let's do that more. And then I tell him, you caught me at a weird time, because I actually want to do that stuff less. I want to unstructure. I don't want to. He's like, what are your goals? What are your short-term, long-term? I'm like, I don't know that I need them. Or maybe I do. Maybe having goals is good. And if somebody else can handle my structure, that'd be okay. But for me, think I should just be winging it, right? And I know most people who listen, most people who hear this would go, well, that's crazy. You can't just do that. I'm afraid to wing it. That's cool. I get it. It's not for everybody. It wouldn't be the first time somebody said, well, that's weird, Toby. Why do you do it that way? Because that's what works for me, right? Doing the Toastmasters thing. There's formal speeches to do. Now, I'm really good at the table topics, the impromptu speaking. Surprise, I could do impromptu speaking. I teach workshops on it and such. But what I wanted to get out of Toastmasters is the ability to do the same speech twice, right? To be able to have a signature speech, to be able to say, somebody to see my thing and go, I really like that speech. Can you come do that speech for our people? And I go, yeah, I can. It's not going to be the same speech, right? It's going to be, at least 50% different, because of the crux of it the same. The lesson would be the same, but the way it comes out, the order of it, the story that I use to illustrate that day might be different. And so I kind of have it that's wrong, because the books say so, because the Toastmasters who've been around for years and years say that's the wrong way to go. Professional speakers often will say that's the wrong way to go. It's wrong for you, right? People think if you wing it, Eric Lofholm's a sales trainer, says if you wing it, you get wing it results. Yeah, for most people, they're not good at that. For me, it's the way to go. I'm way better. Toby, speak to these 500 people for 20 minutes about blah, or an hour and a half. Okay, I'd be happy to. Right? Is way better for me than giving me 6 weeks to prepare something and having to turn it in advance to make sure it's okay. It's going to be terrible. And that speech, I guarantee you on the day, the words I say are not going to be all those words that are in that written speech. And so it just says, Toby, you're a little different. You have a different personality type. It's crazy. Crazy for you, maybe. So the question I come back to is, are you like this, right? Who out there, how many people are improvisers who are, and again, I don't mean on stage. I don't mean as a profession or an activity that you do. I just mean you wing it. You'd prefer to fly seat of your pants. You want to talk off the cuff. You want to just jump out and see what happens, make things happen, and then make it work, right? Because you're my people. I totally get it. And over these last couple of weeks, I've been tearing this apart going, wow, is structure so very, very important? And I guess it is for some things, right? I think your accounting needs to be structured. The legal stuff probably has to be structured. But do you have to do it? Right? And we've been talking about that since day one. You shouldn't do those things. Leave it to a professional. If somebody costs you $35 or $50 an hour to do that stuff, it's got to be worth it, because they'll do it better. They'll do it 2 or 3 times faster than you will. And really, most importantly, is you're not built for it. It's not good for you. It's bad for your brain. So get out of that and then go do the thing that makes you joyous and the thing that can make you money, right? And if you're a speaker, then go speak. And if you are a great salesperson, then go out and make sales. Let somebody else handle the back end piece of it. And it's about being true to yourself. It's, people say, they dance to the dance to the beat of their own drummer. And they're obvious. They're out there. We hear it a lot. And I want you to take a minute and look at your life. And are you running your life and running your business the best possible way for you, or because of some stuff you read, right? Some seminar you went to that said you should do this way and the other thing that way because that's effective. Well, it's effective for them. Maybe it's not effective for you, right? And so I really think about that, look at that for a minute and go, maybe I should run that differently, And it's weird. Like I said, it's common enough. We see that, we hear it said, but then to look at it and go, wow, I am really doing this differently. I'm doing this not the best for me. Like I said, I'm pulling it apart for myself this week, but if I improvise everything, why not the rest? If it used to work, why won't it work again? Right? So think about that. It's kooky crazy. And a piece of it is, and it's not just structure, it's not just how you do it, but what are you measuring? Because some book told you to measure it, right? Some website said, here's the 3 things you need to measure, or the 10 or the 100,000 things you need to measure to make sure your business is working. Maybe you don't need all of those. I read a good ultra short blog the other day on codinghorror.com, CODINGHORROR, coding horror. And here's the thing, how when you get a new idea or you decide I'm going to do something, this is Emerson, right? You state your intention and the universe conspires to help you. And so you just start. And so I started pulling this apart with my coach and looked at that. And all of a sudden it started showing up on blog posts and in articles and just around. So the guy on Coding Horror had written, you don't need a to-do list, right? You only need to know 2 things that you should do in your day. And that is, what will help my customers the most and what will make me money. And the glory all happens in the delta, right? All in the, where do those things cross? How do I best help customers today and how do I make money today? And maybe you don't need a to-do list. Maybe you don't need, make sure you tweet today. Make sure you Facebook today. Make sure you create your flyer today. Make sure you follow up with Bob about, the design. You don't have to have that task list. Maybe you're smart enough to know what you need to do when you need to do it. I know. And because I've just spent, 10 years steeped in this, business looks a certain way, businesses work in a certain way, it's hard for me to pull out of that a little bit. But I'm doing it, and I'm doing it here with you live because it is tricky to maneuver inside your own head and see what do I really think? Why have I been doing it that way? It's so contrary to me, right? Maybe you're an artist type. Maybe you go, I just want to paint, right? I get it, right? And I've done courses for helping artists be better business people. I've done that. You need to handle some marketing. You need to know who your people are. You do need to know who your people are. But marketing for you as an artist, maybe you don't have to go get on Twitter and tweet all the time. Maybe you're on Pinterest and you show a picture now and again, right? You're on your Facebook and you show some pictures or whatever it is your art is. But I don't know, having a strict schedule that runs you might not be the thing for you. And I've mentioned, again here, 5 years or so ago, I learned how to use a calendar. It used to be, I had so much to do. Then I got a calendar, you call me anytime. It's like, I'm doing this one thing. And that sounds like such a great story. Hi, Chris. This sounds like such a great story and a great illustration. Oh, yeah, I should use a calendar too. That way I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not doing 20 things at a time. I'm only doing one thing. The downside to that is the calendar rules your life, right? And if the calendar rules your life and you schedule in back-to-back stuff for your day, do this show, tweet this, Facebook that, call these people, do this other thing, write this document, do that, and you schedule all that in, what you don't schedule in is any time for fun or any time for just people connection or any time just to relax. And brain science, right? I love neuroscience. How's your brain work and what happens? Probably one of the best things you can do for your whole day of work is to take a 10-minute break, take a 20-minute break, and don't think or talk about work, right? A lot of science will tell you take a nap at 3 p.m. That's good for you too. But if you can't swing a nap, take a break, grab an apple and go take a walk for 10 minutes. And it seems like, oh, I'm wasting 15 minutes by doing that. Yeah, but when you come back, you'll be redoubled. You'll have thought of things you would never have thought of otherwise. It's an argument for taking a day off every once in a while. It's an argument for taking a vacation now and again. Vacation, that's a French word that means don't work or something. I don't know. Right? So I should take my own advice and take a vacation. But so are you trying to measure metrics that you got from somewhere that don't really ultimately matter to you? Are you creating a to-do list in a way that doesn't work for you just because the app that you have says do it this way? Did you read somebody's system in a book or on a website that says, wow, that seems like a great system and they've got great results. So if you do it, then you will have those same great results. Maybe you're trying to hammer your personality into their system. And I'm going to ask you to, if nothing else, just take a look at that for today. And, I don't have an answer. What's the best way? After all this time, I still don't think having no structure is ideal, right? I don't think that's the answer. But in my world of business and systems, I shouldn't be doing them. If nothing else, somebody else should put that together and, point me in the right direction when it needs to happen. That's a perfect world for me. And one day that will be the truth, right? Thanks, Lorraine, who's my coach. I don't like it. I don't see how I can get that off my plate now, but one day I won't have to do it. It'll be somebody else's job. And I think that's a good thing for a lot of us to do. And again, if you're spending your time doing the stuff that you hate to do, figure out how to stop doing that right now. Okay. And then that last bit of that is, right, those are the metrics, right? You got metrics, you have things that you measure just because somebody said it's valuable to measure. But I really honestly do not know what's the value of a like, right? What's the value of a retweet? I don't know. And I don't think anybody really knows. So if you put something up, say you put something up every other day, and you usually get 50 likes or so on your stuff, 40 to 70 likes on stuff. And you put something up and only 4 people like it. Does it mean you're bad or wrong, or that picture's bad, or that you said the wrong thing? You just gave yourself a bunch of angst over something it's quantifiable, but is it usefully quantifiable? I got 50 likes on it, so what? Right? So don't stop counting it, right? How many people visited your website today? Maybe that's good to know compared to, right, how many people bought from your online site? How many people came here? How many people bought? Well, I get the value of those analytics. Where did they abandon it? On the front page, that means your front page sucks. On your store page, that means none of your item descriptions were good. Did they look at an item and not buy? Well, then you didn't have a good call to action, maybe. Did they get to your cart and abandon it? Well, your cart might be too complex. So those things about analytics are good, but they're not necessarily your job. See, I know that stuff. Well, having been a web person, that helps, but I shouldn't have to do anything about that in my brain, right? You should have somebody to do that. I've been saying that since day one. Have somebody to do your stuff, and I have somebody to do that stuff now. And so that helps me pull this stuff apart. And then, what I was going to say, the last bit is the dream that you're chasing. Whose is that? Is that yours? Is it what what does it take for your business to be successful? To make your dad proud of you? According to somebody else's measure? Do you do that for someone else? Are you trying to show up some way so that you look good to somebody or some group or something? Well, maybe that isn't the way to do that, right? Maybe you should do it because you love the people that you serve. And it feels good the way you do it. It feels good for you in the way you do it. So it's kind of kooky stuff, right? No teaching, no plans here today, just some stuff. I'm looking for those people who feel that same way. People who like to be more spontaneous and off the cuff. And it helps that you're positive and are sure stuff will work, right? Those are the kind of people that I'm going to put on my team and create a bigger, better thing. I am going to kick out of here in a minute, but let me tell you, I have a 4-week workshop starting again soon. It's called Wing It and Win. It's a great workshop for getting out of your own way, right? And maybe not just in your life, your communications, your parties, but at work. It'll help you in sales, help you in networking, all that stuff. Wing It and Win. It's a 4-week workshop. Starts Saturday, May 10th. You can find out about that at tobymartini.com. And if you're a Toastmaster, they're in the Tampa Bay area. District 48 conference is May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I'm doing a workshop in the middle of that, but I'm also doing a Thursday night kickoff party. And it's 7 to 9 on Thursday night at the Airport Marriott. Just going to be a fun, kind of a crazy exercise and games fun thing. So if you're a Toastmaster or know any, go to that district conference. Even if you don't go to the district conference, you can come to my event on Thursday night at the Airport Marriott. And you can find info on that stuff at tobymartini.com. Chris, I'm about to leave. I hope that you're happy and you've enjoyed the show. Wake up, you. And sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So we're going to kick out here. Next week, we should be starting the Tear This Business Apart show. I'm going to have Ken Queen on. Like I said, I'm a little up in the air because now I don't want structures, but we're still going to work it out and see what happens. So come back next week, which is May Day, which is kind of funny too. It's May 1st, so it's May Day. May Day, help this business. Check it out then. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
This has been Straight Up with Toby Martini. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you want to find out more about what I'm up to, you can always find me at tobymartini.com. We'll see you next week.
This program was brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization, setting the standard for new media broadcasting.